I didn't cry when they didn't show up. I thought I would, but I didn't. The ceremony continued anyway. The vows, the soft music, the trembling hands, all bathed in that forgiving sunset light that seemed to apologize for them. I smiled for the photos, though the 2 empty seats in the front row burned through every captured moment. Everyone else assumed traffic or illness, maybe some misunderstanding. But I knew better. With my parents, absence was never accidental. It was calculated, their favorite form of punishment. 2 weeks before the wedding, my mother had called. Her voice cool and cutting. "I hope you're not expecting us at that spectacle." "Spectacle?" I asked, confused. "It's my wedding, Mom." She laughed, that low, cruel sound I'd known all my life. "Exactly. You're marrying beneath our standard, Emily. Your father and I have a reputation to protect. We can't stain the family name for one of your emotional experiments." I clenched the phone tighter. "You're talking about Michael. He's a good man, Mom. He loves me." "That's sweet," she replied, her tone dripping with mockery. "But love doesn't buy dignity." Then my father's voice came from the background, calm, distant, final. "We won't attend, Emily. Family standard comes first." Click. End of call. I stood in the kitchen, heart hammering. Michael came in, drying his hands after washing the dishes, and saw my face. "What happened?" he asked. I forced a smile. "Nothing. They're just busy." It was a lie because the truth was too humiliating to speak aloud. That night I lay awake, thinking about every small way they'd made me feel less. When my sister Leia dropped out of college, they sent her to Paris for a mental health getaway. When I graduated top of my class, they gave me a $10 gift card to a restaurant that had already closed. When Leia wrecked her car, Dad replaced it the next day. When mine broke down, he said, "Maybe walk to work. It'll build character." Their message was always clear. I was the disappointment who shared their last name. And yet, some foolish part of me still believed they'd come to my wedding. On the day itself, I kept glancing toward the doors. Each time someone entered, my heart leapt, but it was never them. Not when I walked down the aisle. Not when Michael whispered, "I do." Not even when my new father-in-law handed me the bouquet with teary eyes. Something I'd secretly dreamed my dad would do. After the ceremony, while laughter and music filled the hall, I slipped away to a quiet corner and checked my phone. No calls. No messages. Just silence. The next morning I sent one text. "Why didn't you come?" Hours passed before she replied. When her message finally appeared, it was only one line. We didn't want to lower the family standard. No apology. No explanation. Just arrogance wrapped in pride. I read that text until the words blurred. Then I showed it to Michael, who stared at it for a long time before saying softly, "You don't have to keep chasing them." But I did for years. Out of habit, out of longing, out of that old reflex that told me love had to be earned. The calls faded. The messages stopped. Silence settled in, and eventually it felt normal. 3 quiet years passed. Michael and I built a small home, started a design business, and somehow slowly we thrived. We weren't rich, but we were steady, content, peaceful, happy. My work began to take off. One project led to another, and soon my designs appeared in magazines. I didn't brag. I didn't call them. But news travels fast, especially the kind that comes with prestige. One Friday afternoon, my phone rang with a number I hadn't seen in years. For a moment I thought of ignoring it. But curiosity won. "Hello, Emily." Mom's voice, bright, sweet, pretending the past never happened. "It's been forever. Your father and I have missed you so much." I almost laughed. "Really? You skipped my wedding, Mom?" She sighed, dramatic as ever. "You know how things were then. Your father was under stress. We made a mistake, but we're still family." There it was, the old manipulation dressed as affection. Then she got to the point. "We're in a bit of financial trouble," she said carefully. "Your father's investments didn't go as planned. We just need a little help until things stabilize." A pause, then Dad's voice joined in, still proud though thinner now. "It's just temporary, Em. You've done well for yourself, right? We raised you well." The irony nearly made me smile. The same people who couldn't bear to be seen at my wedding because I wasn't high standard enough were now asking for help. I didn't speak right away. I just listened to the silence, to how desperation had replaced their dignity. And for the first time I realized I had the power they'd always tried to strip from me. I wasn't sure what I would say yet. But I knew one thing. Whatever came next wouldn't be for their comfort. It would be for my closure. The silence stretched until Mom finally asked, "Emily? Are you still there?" "Yes," I said quietly. "Just trying to remember something." "What's that?" she asked, her tone too polite, too careful. "I'm trying to remember the last time you called me just to hear my voice. Not because you needed something." She didn't like that. I heard the shift, the tiny inhale of irritation she always tried to hide. "You don't need to make this emotional," she said sharply. "We're still your parents. Family helps family." "Family," I repeated. "That's an interesting word coming from you." Then Dad cut in colder now. "Emily, you've grown arrogant. Don't forget who gave you everything." I laughed softly. "Everything? You mean the years you spent reminding me I wasn't enough? The wedding you skipped? The message you sent after?" "Don't twist things," Mom snapped. "We had our reasons." "Right," I said. "The family standard." Her silence said it all. "Listen," she tried again, voice syrupy sweet. "I know we've had our differences, but we're in a tough spot. You're successful. It would mean so much if you helped us." "Successful?" I said quietly. "You mean finally good enough to matter?" She sighed. "Emily, stop holding grudges. It's childish." I smiled to myself. Funny, I used to believe that too. When the call ended, I just sat there, staring at my phone in the quiet. For a long moment I didn't move. I didn't feel anger. Just a strange sense of relief, like I'd been waiting my entire life for them to finally reveal the emptiness behind their pride. That night, Michael asked quietly, "You okay?" "They called," I said. "They want money." He raised an eyebrow. "Of course they do. What are you going to do?" "I don't know." He looked at me for a moment, then said softly, "Just remember how they made you feel." The next morning, another message came from Mom. "We could lose the house, Emily. You don't want that on your conscience, do you?" Conscience. The same word she once used when she warned me not to embarrass the family by marrying a man she thought was beneath us. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened an old folder of wedding photos, the ones I hadn't touched in years. Me and Michael smiling under soft lights, looking like we belonged somewhere for once. Then that one photo, 2 empty chairs in the front row. And beneath it, her message from that night. We didn't want to lower the family standard. I saved those 2 images side by side, the text and the chairs, and stared at them until they stopped hurting. Then with steady hands I typed back, "I'm sorry for your situation, but my husband and I have our own family to protect now. I hope you understand." No anger. No lecture. Just a line I should have drawn years ago. A few hours later she replied, "You'll regret this. Don't forget who you came from." And I sent one final message. "I didn't come from you. I survived you." After that, I blocked their numbers. For the first time I felt light, not victorious, not spiteful, just free. Because I finally understood what love wasn't. It wasn't obligation. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't breaking yourself to keep someone else comfortable. They never taught me compassion, but they taught me something better, how to build peace on my own. I didn't owe them money. I didn't owe them forgiveness. I only owed my son the truth about what family really means. When he's older, I'll tell him. Some people say family is everything, but sometimes, everything isn't worth keeping. That's when I realized I wasn't their disappointment anymore. I was their reflection. And for the first time they had to face what they'd created. 3 weeks passed before I heard from them again. Not through a call, but through my sister Leah. Her message arrived late one night. A single paragraph that started polite and ended desperate. "Mom and Dad are losing the house. Dad's health is bad. They said you won't even talk to them. Can't you help, Emily? You're the only one doing well. Be the bigger person." I stared at it for a long while. Leah had always been their favorite, the golden one, the one they sheltered, the one who never had to fight for love. I'd envied that once. But her message didn't make me angry. It made me sad because she still didn't understand. She still thought kindness meant surrender. So I wrote back, "I've helped my whole life, Leah. It's their turn to learn what it feels like to stand alone." And for the first time I hit send without guilt. A month later I saw Mom by accident. I was at a downtown cafe, finalizing a client design layout. When I looked up, she was outside the window, her posture slouched, makeup smudged, clothes no longer refined. For a heartbeat, our eyes met through the glass. She froze, then smiled, pretending nothing had ever happened, and walked in. "Emily," she said softly, "you look well." "I am," I replied. She sat without asking. "Your father's not doing well. We've lost most of the savings. I didn't want to come like this, but—" She hesitated, searching my face. "You're doing so well, and you're still our daughter." It was the same tone she used whenever she wanted obedience disguised as affection. "Mom," I said evenly, "do you remember my wedding day?" Her face tightened. "That was years ago." "No," I interrupted. "Do you remember the message you sent that night?" She looked away. I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table. The message was still there, like a scar that never faded. "We didn't want to lower the family standard." She exhaled. "I was angry. You know how your father and I are, we've always been proud. We thought we were doing the right thing. By humiliating me?" I asked quietly. "By pretending love was something you could ration out to whoever you approved of?" Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't move. "I'm not here to punish you," I said. "But you can't ask for help from the same child you refuse to love." She wiped her cheeks. "So that's it? You're just going to let us suffer?" I leaned back. "No, Mom. You're going to let yourselves learn." For a moment, she looked like she wanted to argue, but something in her expression broke. She realized I wasn't that timid girl anymore, the one who used to shrink beneath her voice. When she finally left, she didn't look back. Weeks later, Leah told me they'd sold the big house and moved into a small place outside the city. No staff, no parties, no polished image. Their so-called family standard had been reduced to survival. And I didn't feel joy, just clarity. Because revenge wasn't about making them suffer. It was about never letting them define my worth again. 3 years after that cafe encounter, Michael and I renewed our vows. This time there were no empty seats, no missing faces, just laughter, friends, and peace. During dinner, someone asked if my parents would ever be part of my life again. I thought for a moment, smiled, and said, they already had their chance. Later that night, when the candles flickered low, I scrolled through my old messages one last time. Found that same cruel text and deleted it. Because they no longer set my standard. I did. And mine didn't need forgiveness to feel free.